Have you ever sat down in the morning, cracked open a couple of eggs for breakfast and wondered, is this really good for me? Maybe you've heard conflicting things over the years. Some folks say eggs are a superfood packed with protein, vitamins, and all sorts of goodness. Others suggest you should stay away from them if you're worried about cholesterol or your heart. It can get confusing, can't it? Especially when you're trying your best to eat right and stay healthy as you get older. Let's be honest, eggs are a staple for so many of us. They're quick, they're versatile, and they remind us of simpler times. Maybe a soft-boiled egg with toast soldiers when you were a kid, or a hearty omelet on a lazy Sunday morning. But as we age, the way our bodies respond to food changes. Suddenly, things we never thought twice about start to matter. And the last thing any of us wants is to make a simple mistake in the kitchen that could actually be harmful to our health. That's why today, I want to talk to you about something really important. Mistakes people often make with eggs. Mistakes that can actually make eggs harmful, especially for those of us in our golden years. It's not about scaring you away from eggs, not at all. In fact, when prepared and eaten the right way, eggs can still be a wonderful part of a healthy diet. But there are a few common pitfalls that can turn this humble breakfast hero into a hidden health hazard. So, if you've ever felt a little sluggish after breakfast, or you're just looking to keep your heart, brain, and body in tip-top shape, you're in the right place. We're going to walk through the most common mistakes people make with eggs, things that are especially important to watch out for as we get older. And don't worry, I'll share some simple, practical tips along the way, so you can enjoy your eggs with confidence and peace of mind. Let's get right into it, starting with one of the biggest mistakes out there, not paying attention to how fresh your eggs really are. Now, you might be thinking, I always check the date on the carton. What more do I need to do? But here's the thing, eggs can sometimes be deceptive. That little date on the carton isn't always the whole story. Sometimes eggs have been sitting on the shelf at the store for a while before they even make it to your fridge. And as eggs get older, the risk of them harboring harmful bacteria like salmonella goes up. For most people, a mild case of food poisoning is just unpleasant. But for seniors, it can be downright dangerous, sometimes even leading to hospitalization. So, how can you tell if an egg is really fresh? Here's a simple trick my grandmother taught me, and I still use it today, the water test. Just fill a bowl with cold water and gently put your egg in. If it sinks and lays flat on its side, it's fresh. If it stands upright or starts to float, it's past its prime and better off in the compost. Why does this matter so much as we get older? Our immune systems aren't quite as robust as they used to be, which means we're more susceptible to infections from things like salmonella or E. coli. It's just not worth the risk. So, always double-check your eggs. Not just the date, but the smell and feel too. If anything seems off, it's better to be safe than sorry. Another mistake I see all the time, especially in busy households, is improper storage of eggs. Maybe you grew up keeping eggs in a bowl on the counter, or maybe you stash them in the door of the fridge because it's convenient. I get it, old habits die hard, but the truth is, eggs need to be stored at a consistent, cool temperature. The best place? The main body of your fridge, not the door. Why? Every time you open the fridge, the temperature in the door fluctuates, and that's the perfect environment for bacteria to multiply. Keeping eggs cold and steady helps lock in their freshness and keeps those nasty bugs at bay. And let's talk about cross-contamination. It's such an easy mistake to make without even realizing it. Maybe you crack your eggs right onto the pan and then, without thinking, use the same fork to stir your omelet and taste it before it's fully cooked. Or maybe you set the egg carton right on your countertop, then start prepping veggies on the same surface. Raw eggs, even those that look perfectly clean, can carry bacteria on the shell. If you're not careful, it's all too easy to spread those germs to other foods, especially ones you might eat raw. Think salads or that fresh fruit you like to slice up for breakfast. So, here's a little routine that can make a big difference. After handling eggs, always wash your hands thoroughly with soap and warm water. Clean any surfaces or utensils the eggs touch too. It might feel like an extra step, but it's a habit that can protect you from a nasty bout of food poisoning. And as you probably know, as we get older, even a mild stomach bug can leave us feeling wiped out for days or even weeks. It's just not worth it. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about another common mistake: overcooking your eggs. I know. Some folks like their eggs cooked to a crisp just to be safe. Maybe you remember your mother saying, "Better safe than sorry." But here's the thing. When you cook eggs at very high temperatures, especially until they're browned or rubbery, you're actually changing the structure of the proteins and fats inside. Overcooked eggs can become tough and harder to digest. More importantly, the cholesterol in eggs can oxidize when exposed to high heat for too long, and some studies suggest that oxidized cholesterol may be more harmful to our blood vessels and heart health than regular cholesterol. You don't have to eat runny eggs if you don't like them, but gentle cooking is the way to go. Think soft-boiled, poached, or a gentle scramble. If you use fat in the pan, go for a healthy one, like a splash of olive oil. And if you like hard-boiled eggs, just cook them until the yolks are set, not until they're gray and crumbly. Your taste buds and your stomach will thank you. And while we're here, let's linger for a moment on the question of how many eggs are too many. For years, we heard warnings about eggs and cholesterol, especially for those with heart problems or high blood pressure. The science is a bit more nuanced now. For most healthy seniors, enjoying an egg a day is generally considered safe. But if you've been told by your doctor to watch your cholesterol, it's always a good idea to check in before making eggs a daily thing. Remember, moderation is key. Eggs are full of nutrients, protein, B vitamins, choline, and even a little vitamin D, but balance is everything, especially as we get older. Sometimes the mistake isn't in how you cook your eggs, but what you pair them with. Maybe you're in the habit of frying your eggs in butter and serving them with bacon, sausage, or a pile of white toast slathered in margarine. It's delicious, no doubt, but all that saturated fat, sodium, and refined carbs can add up fast and put extra strain on your heart and blood vessels. Why not try your eggs with sautéed spinach, tomatoes, or a sprinkle of fresh herbs? Maybe a slice of whole grain toast or some avocado on the side. Not only does it taste amazing, but it also gives your body the fiber, healthy fats, and vitamins it needs to thrive. It's easy to fall into routines in the kitchen. We get used to doing things a certain way, and sometimes we don't realize that a tiny tweak, storing eggs a little differently, washing our hands a bit more carefully, or cooking at a lower temperature can make a world of difference. It's not about making things complicated or taking the joy out of eating. In fact, it's the opposite. When you know you're handling eggs safely and making smart choices, you can enjoy them with confidence, knowing you're doing something good for your body. Now that we've covered a few of the most important mistakes people make with eggs, the freshness factor, proper storage, avoiding cross-contamination, and gentle cooking, let's keep going and talk about some other habits that can help you get the most out of this everyday ingredient without putting your health at risk. One thing a lot of people don't realize is how much the way we prepare eggs has changed over the years. Maybe you remember a time when eggs came straight from a neighbor's farm, or even from your own backyard chickens. You could trust where they came from, and you probably ate them fresh, sometimes even on the same day they were laid. Nowadays, most of us rely on supermarket eggs, and we don't always know how long they've been in transit or on the shelf. That's why being vigilant about freshness and storage is even more important now than it was back then. But there's another mistake that can sneak up on us: relying on raw or undercooked eggs in certain recipes. It's easy to forget that some classic dishes, like homemade mayonnaise, Caesar salad dressing, or even that old family recipe for chocolate mousse, call for raw eggs. If you've had these dishes for years without any trouble, it might seem silly to worry. But as we age, our immune systems naturally weaken a bit, making us more vulnerable to foodborne illnesses. What might have been a minor stomach ache in your 30s or 40s can turn into a serious problem when you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond. If you love recipes that call for raw or undercooked eggs, the good news is you don't have to give them up entirely. Look for pasteurized eggs at the grocery store. These have been gently heated to kill harmful bacteria without actually cooking the egg. They're just as versatile as regular eggs, and you can use them in any recipe, raw or cooked, with peace of mind. It might feel like a small change, but it's one that can make a huge difference in staying healthy and safe. Another thing I've noticed is that sometimes we get into the habit of sticking to the same old egg routine day after day. Maybe you always have a fried egg on toast, or you whip up a quick omelet with whatever's in the fridge. There's nothing wrong with having favorites, but eggs can be a great vehicle for adding more variety and more nutrition to your diet. As we get older, it becomes even more important to eat a rainbow of fruits and vegetables, and eggs are a perfect way to do that. Instead of just cheese or ham, try adding sautéed mushrooms, colorful peppers, spinach, or even leftover roasted veggies to your eggs. Not only does this boost the flavor, but it also packs in extra vitamins, minerals, and fiber that your body needs as you age. If you're feeling adventurous, try herbs like dill, parsley, or chives. These little touches may seem simple, but they help keep your meals interesting and your body strong. Now, let's talk about salt. It's such a staple in cooking, and a little sprinkle can bring out the best in your eggs. But as we age, our bodies become more sensitive to sodium, and too much salt can raise blood pressure and increase the risk of heart disease. It's easy to reach for the salt shaker out of habit, especially if you've always done it. But sometimes just a pinch is all you need, or none at all, especially if you're using flavorful vegetables, herbs, or spices. If you're used to heavily salting your eggs, try cutting back just a bit and adding other seasonings for flavor. Black pepper, paprika, garlic powder, or even just a squeeze of fresh lemon juice can make eggs taste delicious without loading up on sodium. And if you're eating processed meats like bacon or sausage alongside your eggs, remember that those can be very high in salt too. Your heart will thank you for making these small adjustments. Another easy mistake to make is forgetting about portion size. Eggs are nutrient-rich, but like anything, moderation is key. For most healthy seniors, 1 egg a day is considered safe. But if you're having 2 or 3 every morning along with cheese, meat, and buttered toast, the calories and saturated fat can add up fast. If you want a heartier breakfast, try mixing 1 whole egg with a couple of extra egg whites. This way, you get the satisfaction of a big plate of eggs with less cholesterol and saturated fat, and you're still getting all that great protein. And while we're on the topic of moderation, let's not overlook how eggs fit into the bigger picture of your weekly diet. If you're also eating a lot of red meat, cheese, and full-fat dairy, you might want to think about balancing things out with more plant-based meals throughout the week. Eggs can absolutely be part of a healthy diet, but they shouldn't be the main event at every single meal. Giving your body a break from too much animal fat and cholesterol is a gift to your heart and your overall well-being. Now let's touch on something that often gets overlooked: food allergies and sensitivities. Maybe you've eaten eggs your whole life without a problem, but as you age, your body can sometimes develop new sensitivities. If you notice that eggs suddenly leave you feeling bloated, give you indigestion, or cause skin irritation, don't just brush it off. It's always a good idea to check in with your doctor if something doesn't feel right. Sometimes, small changes in how our bodies process food are just part of getting older, and it's important to listen to those signals. One more thing I want to share is the importance of balance and variety. It's easy to fall into routines, especially when life gets busy or you're cooking for one. But eggs can be so much more than just breakfast food. Try using them in a vegetable frittata for dinner, or making a simple egg salad with Greek yogurt and fresh herbs for lunch. If you're feeling adventurous, explore cuisines from around the world, like a Japanese-style tamago omelet or a Spanish tortilla with potatoes and onions. The more variety you bring to your plate, the more likely you are to get all the different nutrients your body needs as you age. Staying curious and open to new flavors can make cooking and eating more enjoyable, and it's one of the best ways to keep both your mind and your body young. If you ever find yourself in a rut, try picking one new vegetable or seasoning each week to add to your eggs. It's a fun way to shake things up, and you might discover a new favorite. Of course, as you make these small changes, remember that your health journey is your own. There's no one-size-fits-all answer, and what works for your neighbor or your friend might not be right for you. The most important thing is to pay attention to how you feel after meals, to listen to your body, and to make adjustments as needed. Food should nourish you, give you energy, and bring you joy. As we keep exploring the ways eggs can be both delicious and safe, it's worth remembering that sometimes the smallest changes make the biggest difference. Whether it's being mindful of freshness, trying new veggie combinations, or simply cutting back on salt, these tweaks can help you enjoy eggs for years to come without worry. Now let's continue and explore even more ways to make sure your next egg-based meal is as healthy and satisfying as possible. Something that's easy to overlook, especially when we're busy or just not feeling up to a big fuss in the kitchen, is the cookware we use for our eggs. Over the years, you might have cooked eggs every which way, scrambled in a well-loved frying pan, poached in a saucepan, or baked in a casserole dish. But did you know that the type and condition of your pans can affect not just the taste, but also the safety of your eggs? Let's talk a bit about non-stick pans. They're popular for a reason. Eggs slide right off, cleanup is easy, and they make breakfast a breeze. But over time, those non-stick coatings can get scratched or worn down, especially if you use metal utensils or scrub too hard. When this happens, tiny bits of the coating can flake off into your food. For most people, the odd flake might not be a big deal, but as we age, our digestive systems can get a little more sensitive, and some older non-stick coatings contain chemicals that are best avoided, especially if you're using pans that are many years old. If your non-stick pan has seen better days, it might be time to treat yourself to a new one. Or you can try cooking your eggs in a well-seasoned cast iron skillet or a stainless steel pan with a little olive oil. Not only does this reduce your exposure to questionable chemicals, but it can also add a bit of iron to your diet, which is something many seniors can benefit from. Now, moving from pans to preparation, let's talk about another sneaky mistake: adding too much fat to your eggs. It's tempting to make scrambled eggs extra creamy with a big splash of cream, or to fry them up in a generous pat of butter. It tastes comforting and rich, but all those extra saturated fats can add up, especially if you're watching your cholesterol or trying to keep your heart healthy. The good news is, eggs don't need much to taste fantastic. A teaspoon of olive oil or a little bit of avocado oil works beautifully, and both are heart-healthy choices. You can even try steaming your eggs or baking them in a muffin tin with vegetables. Delicious, easy, and without the heavy fats. Speaking of baking, let's not forget that eggs are an ingredient in so many baked goods: cakes, muffins, quiches, and more. Sometimes it's easy to lose track of how many eggs you're actually consuming, especially if you enjoy a slice of banana bread with your coffee or a piece of quiche for lunch. If you're trying to keep an eye on your cholesterol, it can help to be a little more mindful about all the hidden eggs in your week. There are plenty of great recipes out there for lighter baked goods, some of which use applesauce or mashed bananas as egg substitutes. It's all about balance. You don't have to give up your favorite treats, but a little awareness goes a long way. Let's also talk about the importance of quality. Not all eggs are created equal. You've probably noticed there's quite a range at the grocery store these days: cage-free, free-range, organic, omega-3 enriched, and more. It can feel overwhelming, even for experienced shoppers. The truth is, while all eggs have similar basic nutrients, eggs from hens raised on a varied diet, especially those labeled omega-3 enriched, tend to have a healthier fat profile. That means more of the good fats that support your brain and heart, and sometimes even a brighter, richer yolk. If you have access to local farm eggs, give them a try. You might notice a difference in taste and color, and you'll be supporting local farmers at the same time. Let's not forget about the environmental aspect too. Choosing eggs from sources that treat their hens well and use fewer chemicals can mean less exposure to antibiotics and pesticides for you, which is especially important as we age and our bodies become more sensitive to these things. Of course, some folks worry about the cost of premium eggs. If that's a concern, remember that even the standard eggs at your supermarket can be part of a healthy diet if you handle and prepare them safely. The most important thing is to avoid eggs with cracked shells. These are more likely to be contaminated and should always be discarded. If you ever crack an egg and notice an odd smell, color, or texture, it's better to toss it than take a chance. It's a simple rule, but it's one that can prevent a lot of problems. Sometimes the mistake isn't in the kitchen at all, but in the way we think about food. It's easy to fall into patterns of guilt or worry about what we're eating, especially if you've dealt with health issues or have gotten conflicting advice. But food is meant to nourish, to comfort, and to bring people together. Eggs, at their best, are a symbol of new beginnings, of simplicity, and of home. When we make small positive changes, it's not about restriction or fear. It's about caring for ourselves, showing a little extra kindness to our bodies, and enjoying life's simple pleasures. Let's also touch on hydration. It might sound unrelated at first, but did you know that eggs are actually pretty rich in protein? That's great for maintaining muscle and strength as we age, but protein also requires extra water for our bodies to process it well. If you find yourself feeling sluggish or having trouble with digestion after a protein-rich meal, try drinking a little more water throughout the day. Sometimes, supporting your body is as simple as keeping a glass of water nearby when you sit down for breakfast. And while we're thinking about digestion, it's good to remember that everyone's body is different. Some people can eat eggs every day with no trouble, while others might feel better with just a few per week. If you ever notice changes in how you feel after eating eggs, maybe a little more gas, bloating, or discomfort, it's worth experimenting with portion size or how you prepare them. Sometimes, a softer cooked egg is easier on the stomach, or pairing your eggs with fiber-rich veggies can help everything move along a little more comfortably. As we look back at the habits and choices that can make eggs harmful or helpful to your health, it's clear that most of these changes are simple, small, and completely within your control. Being mindful of freshness, storage, cooking methods, portion sizes, and even the cookware you use can all add up to a big difference over time. What's truly wonderful is that none of these changes mean giving up the foods you love. In fact, they're about making your meals safer, more delicious, and even more enjoyable. After all, food is one of life's great pleasures, and you deserve to savor every bite with confidence and peace of mind. With these tips in mind, you can make eggs a healthy, satisfying part of your routine. And as we wrap up our conversation, let's celebrate all the small choices that add up to better health, more energy, and more joy in every day. Remember, you're never too old to learn something new, and you're never too old to make a positive change for yourself. If you've got a favorite egg recipe, a kitchen trick, or a memory you'd like to share, I'd love to hear about it. Sharing our stories and supporting each other is what makes this journey so much richer and more rewarding. If you're finding these tips helpful, don't forget to let me know in the comments below. Your experiences can inspire others, and together we can all discover new ways to live our healthiest, happiest lives. We've talked a lot about the little habits and choices that can turn eggs from a simple breakfast into a truly nourishing part of your day. As we reach the end of this conversation, I hope you're feeling more confident and empowered in the kitchen, knowing that with just a few mindful tweaks, you're making choices that support your health, your energy, and your enjoyment of life. There's one last piece to this puzzle, and it's perhaps the most important of all: enjoying your food in good company and with genuine pleasure. Over the years, I've come to believe that meals are about more than just nutrients or calories. They're about memories, connection, and moments of joy. Maybe you have a memory of gathering around the table with family, passing a plate of warm scrambled eggs, or sharing a laugh over a perfectly flipped omelet. Those moments stay with us, and they're just as nourishing as anything on the plate. Sometimes, as we get older, eating can become a solitary affair. Maybe you live alone or your family is far away. But even if you're making a simple meal for yourself, remember that you're worth the effort. Set the table, maybe put on some music, and savor the ritual of preparing and enjoying your food. If you have neighbors or friends nearby, invite them over for a casual brunch or share a photo of your latest kitchen creation. Food brings us together, and sharing it, however you choose to do so, brings even more meaning to every bite. Let's not forget, too, that our relationship with food is always evolving. There might be days when you feel adventurous, ready to try a new egg recipe, or days when you just want something comforting and familiar. Both are perfectly okay. What matters most is listening to your body, respecting your own needs, and allowing yourself the freedom to enjoy food without guilt or worry. If you've been following along, you now have a whole toolkit of strategies to make eggs safer and healthier, checking for freshness, storing them properly, paying attention to how you cook and what you cook with, watching your salt and fat intake, and even thinking about the quality of the eggs you buy. You've learned how to avoid the most common mistakes, how to make small changes that protect your heart, your digestion, and your overall well-being, and how to keep your meals interesting and full of variety. But let's not turn this into a checklist you have to stress about. Instead, think of it as a gentle guide, a way to add a little more care and awareness to something you do every day. If you slip up or fall back into an old habit, don't be hard on yourself. Just take a deep breath, remember what you've learned, and try again next time. Progress, not perfection, is what matters most. And if you ever feel unsure or have specific health concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to your doctor or a trusted health professional. There's no shame in asking questions or seeking a little extra help. Your health is precious, and you deserve support at every step. I also want to encourage you to keep exploring, keep learning, and keep sharing your experiences. Maybe you've discovered a new favorite way to cook eggs, or you have a cherished recipe passed down through generations. Maybe you found a clever trick for making eggs more digestible, or a way to sneak extra veggies onto your plate. Your stories matter, and they can inspire others too. If you feel comfortable, take a moment to share your thoughts or tips in the comments below. I love hearing from you, and so do other viewers who are on this same journey. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It truly helps more people find this kind of supportive, practical advice. And if you'd like to join a community of people who care about living well at every age, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. There's always more to learn, more to share, and more ways to support each other as we navigate the challenges and joys of healthy living. Above all, remember this: small positive changes add up over time. You don't have to overhaul your whole diet or give up the foods you love. By making little adjustments, starting with something as simple as how you handle and cook your eggs, you're showing respect for your body and investing in your long-term health. You're choosing energy, vitality, and a greater sense of well-being, one meal at a time. You've got this. Every day is a new opportunity to take care of yourself, to try something new, and to enjoy the simple pleasures of life. Whether you're whipping up a quick breakfast, experimenting with a new recipe, or sharing a meal with someone you love, know that you're making choices that matter. So here's to you, to your health, your happiness, and many more delicious breakfasts ahead. Let's keep supporting each other, keep learning, and keep living our best lives, no matter what the calendar says. Thank you so much for joining me today. I can't wait to hear your stories and see what you create in your kitchen. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay curious, and remember, you're never too old to enjoy good food, good company, and a good life.